Apocalypse now in the village of Avandas. Sunflower fields below, the blazing sun behind, and uncontrollable fires ripping through the hills beyond. Alexandros has lost everything.
It's reached the entire village. Our own house up there, where the fire started, has completely burned down. There's nothing. You can see. Now it's going down towards the entire village.
In Greek, apocalypsis means a revelation, an uncovering. Now fire crews have made the worst kind of discovery. In a more remote area, there was a group in grave danger, but no one knew they were there and no one knew who they were. Today, the bodies of 18 people have been found. Experts are working to identify the victims, whose remains were located by a shack near the village of Avandas. It's in a forest area of the Evros region, on Greece's borders with Turkey and Bulgaria, a popular route for migrants. The local fire service said no reports of missing people had been filed in the area, so it's possible the casualties were migrants who'd entered from Turkey.
Especially these summer months, we've seen an uptick of arrivals in Greece in the sea and the land borders as well. There are fears that there could be more people that are missing, that have taken this route, and they might have been caught in the wildfires.
In the nearby port town of Alexandroupolis, the hills burn orange and the streets flash blue. Desperate evacuation operations unfolded into the night. Hospitals and care homes were cleared, patients lifted into lorries, a horrible human Tetris. Ferries leaving the area have become field hospitals, cafeteria floors, now intensive care units.
I've
been working for 27 years. I've never seen anything like this. It's like war, really. Stretchers everywhere, patients here, IV drips there. It was like a bomb had exploded.
It's been a long summer of hellish scenes in Greece. For 10 days last month, blazes on the island of Rhodes burned relentlessly, forcing locals and tourists to evacuate and laying waste to more than 40,000 acres. Tonight, gale force winds in Hassia near Athens are whipping up more wildfires. The whole village went up when 5 fires all broke out at the same time. And back in Evros, authorities have now banned public access to the mountains and ordered military patrols. In the blackened hills, they're looking for more casualties, for anyone who was under the radar before the fires and is now missing after.
Well, just before we came on air, I spoke to Stella Nanu, the UN Refugee Agency spokesperson for Greece, and I began by asking her about the popular migrant route from Turkey into this region.
That is correct. Evros region is one of the main entry points for migrants and refugees to Greece or to Europe. For example, so far this year, there have been almost 4,000 people crossing to Greece through that region, which I have to say it's a very dangerous route. So regrettably, we have seen many fatalities of people over the last years, fatalities of people who try to seek safety and cross through this very dangerous route.
And I suppose that the chilling reality is that during these wildfires, the most vulnerable people are the least able to protect themselves. The Greek government has been criticised in the past for not giving people sufficient warning of approaching fire. Has that been a problem this time or not?
Well, the situation is very challenging. For example, there are really very strong winds in the area, so the firefighters and the authorities are really struggling to contain the blazes. Among those group of people crossing to the area, we call them migrants and refugees, but we should not forget that these are women, children, men, elderly. That's why what is necessary, it's a coordinated approach.
Are you concerned then that the death toll may rise during these fires? There may be more migrants and asylum seekers falling victim to them?
The the confirmation by the authorities is that 18 bodies have been discovered, a really, really horrific discovery. But there are fears and concerns that the number of the bodies might rise in the next hours.
Yeah. The Greek government has been under fire from the EU about its treatment of asylum seekers, and yet the Greek Prime Minister has been rewarded with a new landslide. Are you concerned that there's a willing appetite amongst voters for the tough migration policies that the Prime Minister has clung on to?
Well, what we need is a balanced approach. Apparently, every state, including Greece, has the legitimate right to control and protect the borders. But Greece, as well as other European countries, have also the obligation to offer and grant asylum and protection to those who need it. Frontline states like Greece also need solidarity from other European states, because addressing the challenges of migration, of people being forced to flee their countries, is not a task for just one country or for just one organization.
Thanks very much for that, Stella. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.